What happened in the previous chapter was the continued showdown between Mash and Levis. Levis got annoyed by the friendship displayed between Mash and Dot. Because of this, he used his second magic wand and cast Magnet's lightning balls. These balls, if they touch Mash, would cause a high voltage shock. Our protagonist tried to run away, but he was always within their reach. Before long, Mash thought of a way to stop them. He used his shoes to catch the balls, and with that, he hammer-tossed them with an extraordinary force. Because of this, Lavis was impressed that Mash thought of that, so he decided to use his second magic. He used Magnet's Lightning Second, Invariable Railgun. That railgun had the ability to release a powerful energy blast traveling at 8,000 kilometers per hour. Lavis used it to kill Mash. But due to our protagonist's extraordinary iron wand, he found a way to deal with it. He shaped it into a baseball bat and hit the projectiles fired by that railgun. Before long, he managed to hit the railgun using its own attack. In the end, our protagonist got close to Lavis again and delivered a solid punch to his face. What's up, Onii-Chan? Welcome back to our manga recap series about Mashle, Magic and Muscles, which has a mix of Harry Potter and One Punch Man in its story. So, let's start the video. In the continuation of Mash's exciting story, we return to the landing of his attack on Lavis. Lavis was knocked back, became even more annoyed, and called Mash trash. He also went into beast mode and released his third line, saying he would never accept a stupid joker like Mash. Dot couldn't believe what was happening as Lavis transformed. Mash asked if what was wrapping around Lavis was iron sand. Lavis summoned the god of his wand, Adamus, the god of magnetism, and used the armored murder form. Dot was surprised at this, and Lavis told him that it was impossible for Mash to defeat him. His hand acquired a north polarity, while Mash's face acquired a south polarity. Because of this, when Lavis cast Attract, his fist hit our protagonist's face really hard. He smirked as Mash tried to counterattack. When he tried to hit Lavis, his hand just slipped off Lavis' face, which surprised him. Lavis explained that his armor autonomously shifts magnetic poles to attract and repel its enemies. As a result, his attacks will never miss and he can't be hurt. This wasn't a fight, but an onslaught. It was a display of the strong overpowering the weak. He rained punches on Mash that never missed, making our protagonist seem like he was being played with. Mash tried to punch back, but it just slipped off again. Lavis shouted and said that Mash would not win against his summons because its power was on a different level. The magnetic force of that armor was several times stronger than most magic, so he couldn't break it, and therefore he couldn't defeat him. While Mash was being punched in the face, Levis told him he might as well stay where he could pummel him to death. While he continued to rain down attacks, Levis thought that he needed to win. He didn't care what he had to do as long as he won. As he said this, his past was shown. His father told him that he and his brother were ready to stand at the top of this world, and they should use any means necessary to maintain their position as the best. Lavis explained here that their father controlled the country. He was always at the top of everything, and it seemed that they, his twin sons, were assigned to have high positions from birth. They reportedly received the best education from excellent teachers, and their curriculum included theoretical and practical magic, governance, and statesmanship. He tried his hardest to understand all of it because failing to be the best would mean punishment. However, he could never be the best because of his brother. His older brother was supposedly better at everything than him, so as a result, he was always punished. Each scar on his body deepened his hatred for his brother. He was preoccupied with devising ways to defeat his brother to avoid the pain. It turns out he didn't have to strive for that because in the end, their situation changed and his brother was the one punished instead of him. His brother supposedly told him that it was because he was weak, but Lavis was strong, so his brother told him not to be like him and to do it for both of them. After that, his brother's health gradually declined and he couldn't bear to see him weaken more and more. Even though he knew the truth that his brother lost for his sake, he was too scared to fight for that with their father. He insisted to himself that he was weak. That was the real reason why he needed to use everything he could do and everything he had to keep winning. If you don't stand at the top, you'll be used, abused, and stepped on. If you can't win, that's the end of you. Winning is the only thing that drove him, and no other ambition could compare to it. Even if he's injured and bleeding, he will use any means necessary, anything, if it means he won't lose. It turns out he's doing all of that for his twin. After Lavis punched, Mash managed to counter it with his own punch. Due to the impact of Mash's punch, Lavis' armor was shattered and his fist was crushed. He was surprised at what happened, and Dot noticed that our protagonist timed his attack to connect with his opponents. When Lavis tried to attack again, Mash was able to counter again, resulting in the shattering of his armor and the injury to his other hand. Lavis' armor gradually shattered as the fight continued. He commented that people like Mash disgust him, people who speak as if the world is a beautiful place. But in the end, he acknowledged Mash and said that nevertheless, his strength was enough to do that. Our protagonist thanked him and they both prepared for their final attack. In the end, the two clashed head to head, which resulted in the shattering of the remaining armor of Lavis due to the impact. Lavis was flung back due to the force of Mash's forehead, and in his mind, he apologized to his brother. He admitted that he couldn't win, so his brother's kindness was wasted on him. He felt that there was no point in living if he couldn't reach the top. Mash told him that if he continued to deceive and use people, he would be alone in life. Nevertheless, Mash respected his desire to win. With his eyes closed, Lavis remembered his father's words. He would stand at the top of the world, eradicate any trace of weakness, and use all his power. It also showed here how his eyes were injured, and it turns out his father was the one responsible. He apologized and said he would try to do better next time. After that, his brother asked him if he was okay and said that he just had to do what they were told to do, like their father wanted. His brother told him to stop and that it wasn't his fault. His brother comforted him and said that he had done everything he could. After that, in his thoughts, he told his brother to be quiet. He also told Mash to be quiet. It seemed that being direct was not Lavis' habit. Lavis explained that while he was indeed defeated by Mash, he should not be arrogant. Mash was not trying to do that anyway. Next, he would be fighting Domino, and he had no chance of winning. Domino was inhuman, and he had already seen up front that she was stronger than the Divine Visionaries. Because of that, Dot was surprised. Lavis explained that a long time ago, there was someone who crushed one of the Divine Visionaries, and it was so severe that there was no hope for him. They said that Domino was responsible for it, and what's more, he was just a child at that time. And worse still, he has the power of a literal god behind him. That is the very reason why magic is worshipped as divine. As he continued to explain, Lavis noticed something. It turned out that Mash had already left, leaving him speechless. The scene then shifted to Innocent Zero's base. Here, Innocent Zero was continuously reconfiguring his body, and while that was happening, he was thinking that he should be close to obtaining the Wand of Beginnings by now. He said that among all his children, Domino's characteristics make him the strongest magic user among them. He wondered how far an inferior being without magic like Mash could go against Domino. He was intrigued while thinking about it and said that it seems like things are going to be fun. In the next scene, Mash is shown to have reached a long bridge where Domino is at the end of it. Our protagonist already saw the big boss. Domino said that he has been waiting for a long time and that all of this would be meaningless if he couldn't defeat Mash. Here, other students are still watching intensely, including Finn. He recalled everything Mash went through and thought to himself that they've come a long way to get here, but he knows our protagonist will win. Mash immediately ran fast towards Domino, but Domino destroyed the bridge, causing Mash to fall. The bridge was destroyed and Mash fell, causing Finn to be worried. Domino said farewell to his poor, defective brother who has no magic. In Finn's mind, that pit seemed like an abyss. Just as he was thinking that Mash could no longer escape, he suddenly heard something. He heard something embedding into the wall bit by bit, and before long it continued. Turns out it was Mash, and our protagonist was climbing by embedding his feet into the wall. Domino did not expect this, while Finn was speechless and thought that indeed he could do it. As the siblings faced each other, the place was filled with intensity. Mash trash-talked Domino, asking if that's all his magic can do. Domino smirked and said that Mash could keep talking and he will silence him. And that's where this video ends. Who do you think is stronger, the younger sibling or the older one? Write your comments down below. If you want more anime and manga recaps, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with new videos.